advice that I give, for younger families.
Yeah, nice. That's what it's about, right? I want to bring in the young families. To come to everything, just to oh. Do that. Stayed home last Saturday. Talking about a big snowstorm Tuesday, huh?
The Tuesday, nor'easter.
Nor'easter. We'll see what happens.
We'll go until after that. I wake up every morning, and at that point, I look at, just so I can get out, other than that, the meeting is, want to check it, but, I think somebody left it off. They were. Somebody left it off. I would really. That's like both of our time here, sir. Enough problem. Oh, yeah. That much is right.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's time to have seats and begin our service. Ya da 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 ya da da ya da da ya da 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 da
2, 3, 4.
ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 bim bum bim 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 bum bim 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 bum 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 bim bum bim 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 bum bim 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 bum. Shabbat Shalom.
Hey,
Shabbat Shalom.
hey,
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
hey,
Shabbat Shalom.
hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Hey,
Shabbat Shalom.
hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Bim bum, bim bum. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Does Adele have anyone to come over to? And yes, we have some good news. All right, let's get this down there.
Sure.
Oh,
Make sure you say your name.
Neil Kaufman, and Monday night, we had a great turnout for Purim, and The kids and adults all enjoyed ice cream that was donated by Market Basket in Middleton. Which is
Unreal.
really nice of them.
Very, very nice. That was a commercial. They deserved it. That was so sweet of them to do what they did to make sure that the kids could eat ice cream. So thank you for making that part of the good news tonight. And for those of you that are here, make sure you shop at Market Basket in Middleton. And go in and thank them, or at least the manager, whoever. Anyone else? Good news?
I have good news.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. My name is Adele. And my good news is on that whole Purim theme, we had a great number of people who volunteered to do some deliveries of Mishloach Manot. And we have received notes from people thanking us for them. Some people have sent us donations thanking us for it.
Nice.
And people have sent emails and made phone calls. So it was greatly appreciated. And I especially want to thank Esther for taking that extra delivery for me, so. Oh, Neil, okay, both of you, thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you.
That's great. That's good news. You know, when we can do the types of thing, Mishalach Manot, you know, to give gifts to people at that crazy time, you know, Purim, it's a Meshugana holiday, right? But there's some goodness to it. There's a lot of goodness, obviously, to it. When people are writing back or calling back and saying, thank you. It's really nice to see that, so.
And there's actually, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's actually a letter by the office that someone sent that if you have a minute, you should read it because it's beautiful.
That's beautiful. So that's the point. When you make a difference in people's lives, that's great. Thank you for doing all of that. For all of you that took the time to get those out and to get them in the mail, too, those of you that do that as well. It's Shabbat. It's Shabbat. It's time for Shalom Aleichem. Let's welcome each other with the angels of peace. Are you listening this week? Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. 14. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, mishochav dach eritzonach, yarutz avdach kemo hayal, yishtachaveh emol hadarach, ye'erav lo yedidutach, ninofetzu b'chotam, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai, yai-la-lai, yai-la-lai, yai-la-lai-lai-lai-lai. Yada la 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 la, yada la la la, yada la la, yada la la la. Sabbath prayer, bottom of 14. Let's read together. Dear God, help us now to make this a new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Lechu Neranena, page 15. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Naria, Letzor Yishenu Nekabna Fana B'toda, Naria, Letzor Yishenu Nizmirot Naria Lo, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Ki El Gadol Adonai Omelech Gadol V'Hodu. Arba'im shana akut bedor v'yomaram toye lebavhem v'hem lo yadu drachai. Hashem nishbati b'yapi im yivovun el menuchati. Page 16, responsibly the song of Psalm 96. Sing a new song to Adonai, acclaim Adonai, all people on earth. For Adonai is great, deserving of praise. Adonai alone is to be revered as God. Majesty and might accompany God's splendor and strength adorn God's sanctuary. Worship Adonai in resplendent reverence. Let the earth tremble in God's presence. Let the heavens rejoice, the earth be glad. Let the sea and all it contains exult. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim be'emunato. Page 20, let's rise. Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei elim, havu l'Adonai kavod. Ba'oz havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai beharat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'akoach, Kol Adonai be'hadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayishaber Adonai et arzei havanon, Vayarkirehem kemo egel, Lebanon v'Siryon kemo ven rehemim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavot eish, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel hayalot, vayachesov ye'arot, of heichalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lama bu yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam. Adonai oz leyamo yitem, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. You may be seated. Lecha Dodi, page 21, every other stanza. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Ishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad. Ushmo echad l'shem ultiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzei mitocha afecha Rab lach sheve be'emek habacha V'hu yachamol alaychem la'lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikabela Hitoreri Ki ba'orech u'mi'ori, uri, shir daberi. Kevod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayulim shisa shosayich. V'rachaku komi ba'alayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, kim soscha tanal kala, lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom aterebala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzahala, Toch emune am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikabela. You may be seated. The Psalm for Shabbat, page 23. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this. Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. Four lines from the bottom. Tzadika tamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanan yiskeh, shetulim beveit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. Orinuhum b'seba, T'sheinim v'rananim yeheyu, Lehagid ki yashar Adonai, Suri v'lo avla tahabo, Adonai malake lavesh lavesh. Edotecha nemnu ma'od levehecha nava kodesh Adonai leyorech yamim. Page 24, the mourner's Kaddish. Those saying Kaddish or observing a yortzeit will rise. The Kaddish, page 24. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Bi'alma divrach hirutei, bi'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'bizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei omaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shemei d'kudashah barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tu'ushbachata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'yamru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru, amen. Let's rise page 28 for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevarach. Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Leolam Vaed. And you may be seated. We continue silently. Rayam Balayla Galil or Mipnei Choshech, Choshech Mipnei or. Omavirim maybe Laila, Omavdil, Bayam Avain Laila, Onai Sevaot Shemo. El Chabekayam Tamidim Loch Aleinu, Leolam Vad, Baruch Ata Adonai, Amari Barabim. Avat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbeinu u'bkumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu, u'bahem nege Yomam v'layla v'yavat chal mimenu le'olamim Baruch Ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 30. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibartabam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'blechtecha b'derech u'b'shavtecha u'b'kumecha u'kshatam liyot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafo b'neinecha u'chtavtam amazuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha v'haya im shemoa tishma'u el mitzvotai asher. L'man yivru yimei v'mei al hadama asher nishpa Adonai lavotechem latet lahem kimei hashamayim al haaretz. 31. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit Al kanfei b'dehem ledorotam v'natnu. Al tzitzit kanaf b'til techelep. V'haya lachem letzitzit. Uritem oto. Uzkartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'yasitem otam. V'lo taturu acharei lebavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareihem leman tizkaru v'yasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'yod lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 32. Umalchuto v'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe b'nei Yisrael l'chanu shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh Nahora tehilot osefele Malchut charavu v'anecha v'keyam lifnei Moshe Zeh Elianu v'yamru Adonai imloch le'olam v'ho'evene Mar kivrayet Yaakov U'galom yar chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Goa Yisrael. Page 33, let's read the bottom English. Creator of peace, compassionate God, guide us to a covenant of peace with all your creatures, birds and beasts, as well as all humanity, a reflection of your image of compassion and peace. Give us strength to help sustain your promised covenant, abolishing blind strife and bloody warfare, so they will no longer devastate the earth, so discord will no longer tear us asunder. Then all that is savage and brutal will vanish, and we shall fear evil no more. Guard our coming and our going, now toward waking, now toward sleep, always within your tranquil shelter. Beloved are you, sovereign of peace, whose embrace encompasses Jerusalem, the people Israel, and all humanity. Ushmor tzeitenu. Uvoeinu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata v'yad olam ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'yal kol amo Yisrael v'yal Yerushalayim. Let's rise, page 34. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael Et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berihit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam oti leolam oti leolam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et Hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'yet haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashavat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ביום הדברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכם וביומכם ובחייך בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבם מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויפאר וירומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה על שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילא מן כה בחטא ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בימה ויאמרו Amen. The Amida will be silent, beginning 35A or B, your choice, through 38. When you've completed the Amida and your personal and private prayers, you may be seated. 35. On the middle of page 38, let's read together. My God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from lies. Help me ignore those who would slander me. Let me be humble before all. Open my heart to your Torah that I may pursue your mitzvot. Frustrate the designs of those who plot evil against me. Make nothing of their schemes. Act for the sake of your compassion, your power, your holiness, and your Torah. Answer my prayer for the deliverance of your people. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my redeemer. Ohoseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, bam bam, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, Yasa shalom, Yasa shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yamaru. Amen. May the one who brings peace to his universe bring peace to us, to all the people of Israel, v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, and all who dwell on God's earth, and let us together say, Amen. Time for the Misha Bera. For those who are not feeling well, when I stop, please say the name or names of people you are praying for. And I do want to remind you that I was called last week by Jeff Schultz. For those of you that didn't know, he told me to take him off the list. He did the Shechayanu with me. And so that was amazing news. And I just wanted everybody to be aware that he's no longer on the congregational list. He has complete refuah shlema. Prayers sometimes do work. Don't forget that. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Karacha V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Rafei Et Kol HaCholim B'Kihila Kadosha Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lahachazi Kam Rufrotam Lishlach Lehem Eira Refuah Shlema Mishma Efrat HaNefesh Efrat HaGuf B'toch Shecha Yisrael Shabbatim Elizok Ofo Karavol Avo May God bring blessing and healing to all those mentioned, including the extra ones and those who suffer illness within the congregational family, those on our list personally and on the congregational list. Those who suffer, together with all others who are suffering, and may God grant them all refuah shlema. Misha beirach avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha beirach imotenu Mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Let's turn to page 47 and rise for Vayechulu, page 47. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz b'chol tzivam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto ki bo Shabbat mikol melachto ki bo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim Asher bara Elohim laso Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Konei Shamayim V'Aretz. May be seated, and it's time to pass out the wine and grape juice. Magem Navot Bivaro Mechayim Meitim B'Mamaro Ha'el Hakadosh She'ein Kemohu Hameniach Le'Yamo B'Yom Shabbat Kodsho Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem Lefanav Navol Be'ira V'Fachal V'Nodeh Lishmo B'Chol Yom Tamid B'Yom HaBrachot El HaHodaot Nadom Hashalom מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדוש על יעמדו שני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בשועתך, תטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, ואנוכו ישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ביעמד יברח חירותי, בימלך מלכותי, בחיי חונב ימי חונב חי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יברך וישתבח ויברך ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ותעלה שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכותיו ושירותיו תושבחותיו ונחמותיו דמירם בימיו ויאמרו אמן. תקבל סלוטון ובאותון דכל ישראל קדם ובהודים ושמע ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב עמית שמיה וחיים עליהם וכל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen. It's time for Kiddush, page 49. Please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yava u'bratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu bacharta, Yotanu kidashta, Mikohanim, V'shabbat kodshecha, V'yahava u'bratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh, Shabbat. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat is Kitisa and Shabbat Parah. Talk about Parah tomorrow. The red heifer. Our greatest sages often read Torah, and they were left with the same questions about it as most of us are here today. This week's Torah reading is loaded with questions. But there's one incident I would like to focus on since it leaves us with more questions than answers. Moshe goes up to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah from God, among other things. It contains instructions about how to build the Mishkan. It thankfully saves Bnei Yisrael from what they did regarding the incident of the golden calf. In Shemot chapter 33, verse 18 through 20 and 23, we find Moshe overcome with ecstasy, requesting to physically see God. And the response was, No human can see my face and live, but you can see my back. See God's back? If God has no physical form, then what is Moshe actually going to see? Would Moshe see God wearing tefillin, as our sages taught? Since a person's personality is in our face, not our back, what does God have against Moshe seeing the divine face? Then it says in Shemot 33, verse 22, Moshe was hidden in a hole in the mountain where God shielded it with the divine hand. Then in Shemot 34, 5 through 7, God spoke the words of the 13 attributes of mercy. God showed Moshe the proper way to pray, according to the sages. So let me share with you what I've always thought that this has meant. Since God has no physical shape, no face, no hand, no back, perhaps these should be read as idioms. Since the face looks and sees what it will be, it could mean what God will do in the future. Surely we cannot see that. Perhaps hand and the outstretched arm implies what God is doing in the present. Sometimes we can't see or understand what God is doing at the time. The idea of seeing God's back could easily be from the idiom of learning the nature of God through seeing what the divine accomplishes. If we look at it this way, if we really try to see what happened, we learn that God's influence on creation and what has happened since is truly amazing. In other words, we learn of God's essence as much through example as through concrete action. So let's think back to the Shoah. We see horrific examples of the worst in human beings. We also see an example of God's back. As horrible and tragic as things were, the evildoers did not fully accomplish their goal of eliminating the Jew from the planet. Instead, they were eliminated, and the Jew got a miracle called the state of Eretz Yisrael. Ever since that moment, Israel has been able to defend itself, overcoming impossible odds. God's back shows how the divine outstretched arm, and it helped the Jews throughout these times. One example of the 1948 war for Israel's independence came at Yad Mordechai. An entire attacking platoon of Egyptian tanks were miraculously swallowed up in the sand, saving the 4 remaining defenders of the area, who watched in disbelief as the remaining Egyptian soldiers ran away in fear. This is reminiscent of what happened at the Sea of Reeds. God's back? I think it is. There are hundreds of stories, but I'll pick one that regular people were involved in. Haredi Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein and Moshe Zorin wrote a series of books called Aleinu L'Shabeach. One story describes a New York City neighborhood with stores that have basements with metal door entrances that lay flat on the sidewalk and open vertically. Employees and delivery people climb in and climb out of the basement, among other things, to ship and to deliver goods. These rabbis tell a story about Reb Moshe Deichmann, who was a wealthy man and a well-known philanthropist. He made his fortune from a diamond and high-end jewelry store on 47th Street in New York's famous Diamond District. Reb Moshe's store had one of those entrances, and his basement was reached by a ladder that went from the basement floor to the sidewalk level opening. One day, while the basement doors were open, a customer tripped over the door and fell into the basement. Baruch Hashem, she was not severely injured, but the ladder was not extended, making it hard for her to climb out. Being the litigious times in which we live in, the lady sued Reb Deichmann. An inspector from the New York City Department of Buildings came to see what happened. The inspector cited Reb Deichmann for the hazard and instructed him to put in a set of permanent steps for safer entry and exit to the basement. Of course, Reb Dykman corrected the matter immediately. Some days later, on a Sunday morning before Reb Dykman had officially opened for business, a young man and a woman entered the store to see his wares. Well, Reb Dykman was known to be a gracious person to his customers, so he let them in early. The young man bought a watch, for which the young man paid with a $100 bill. And then the woman asked to use the restroom. When she came back, she was holding a gun. And they forced Reb Dykman into the basement, where they tied his hands and his feet. Then they went upstairs to do their dirty work. They tried to get the cash register open, but the drawer would not budge. And while they were preoccupied with the register, Reb Dykman was able to get his feet untied, but he couldn't undo his hands. He was able to climb his new stairs and bump the basement door open with his back, all the time blessing God for the visit by the inspectors from the Department of Buildings. Because if he still had the vertical ladder there and with his hands tied, he would have never been able to have gotten out. Once out on the street, he sounded the alarm. The two perpetrators heard him, and they ran from the store, leaving the watch that they had legitimately purchased behind, as well as the $100 bill. Rabbi Zorin finished the story saying, the story is but a simple story of how God reveals a small portion of his ways to us. Even in the midst of concealment, my face may not be seen. We are able to catch a glimpse of God's conduct. You may see my back. In closing, let us all think of other strange and nearly miraculous things that we've heard about or experienced ourselves that teach us about seeing God's back. I'm sure that many of us can list many, many things throughout our lives. And by the way, Reb Dykman lived to the age of 96 years old. May he rest in peace. With that I say, Shabbat Shalom to all of us. Page 51, we rise for Aleinu. 51. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol la'tekeru la'liotzer bereshit shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kecho hamonam ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרוב בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו ופסולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת יום השבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד על כן נקבל לך. וקבלו כולם את עול מלכותך ותמלוך עליהם מהרה לעולם ועד כי המלכות שלך היא למד תמלוך בכבוד ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד O Shema, O Shema, O Shema Echad, O Shema Echad. You may be seated. This week, the congregation will lovingly recall the yortzites of William Brody, Theodore H. Klein, Hyman D. Queen, Ethan Collier, Samuel Falcoff, Abraham Gessen, Bernard Spiegel, Louis N. Schwartz, Nathan Cherkus, Harry Clayman, Sarah Denbo, Marcella Finman, Eleanor Ragosa, Moses Wasserman, Gertrude Carafin, Samuel Schneider, Marcia Wallace, Edward Goldberg, Augusta Levine, Rita Livingston, Marilyn Paul, Elaine Schwartz, Joseph Tarnor, Harry Schultz, Francis Sternberg, and Mildred Sulloway. Are there any others? May the faith that binds us to our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort as we now invite those mourning, observing a yortzeit, to rise and to praise God's name with the words of the Kaddish, page 52. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbam v'varach le'olam, v'lomei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar, v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kudashah barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata, tu'ushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiram b'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. You may be seated if you're up. None of you were. Richard, announcements.
Saturday morning services, 9:30 a.m. Evening minion, Monday through Thursday at 7, in person and virtual, as are all our services. Sunday morning minion at 9 a.m. in person and virtual. There will not be a breakfast and study this week due to the Purim Carnival, which is immediately following on that day. Join us on Monday and Wednesdays for Zumba and fitness, Tuesdays for Israeli dancing. Save the date, Sunday, March 12th for our Purim Carnival and lunch beginning at 11 o'clock. Next Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Perlman will meet on Thursday, March 16th. RSVPs by March 14th. And as Adele would say, if you don't sign up, you don't get the food. Sisterhood invites you to join for an evening with Christina Kaminsky from Kane's Nursery on Wednesday, March 15th, following Minyan. We will all be exploring ways to enhance our spring plantings and care for our house plants. When is it? Okay, 22nd. All right, got to correct that one. Next Friday night is Men's Club Shabbat. Parts have already been assigned, and we look forward to everybody joining us that evening. Join us on Friday, March 24th, as Deborah Cardin, Executive Director of Action for Post-Soviet Jewry, will update us on the work that Action is doing to alleviate suffering in Ukraine. And on Friday, March 31st, Gail Schulman, Chief Executive Officer of Jewish Family and Children's Services, will update us on many programs at JF and CS in what is it doing to help those with unmet needs in the Boston area. Save the date. This is the big one. Saturday evening, April 22nd, as we honor Loretta and Rich Brand for all their service to the community and to the synagogue. Scholarships are available for our high school seniors. Contact the Temple office for scholarship information. Also, Sisterhood offers a scholarship for current college freshmen. Special note thanking you on Facebook and YouTube for your very generous donations. And as you can see, there is always a lot happening at TNT. Information for all events can be found on our weekly e-blast. Shabbat Shalom. And again, Rabbi, thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Shabbat Shalom to you. I get calls from people around, watch us on YouTube, right, people, and say, wow, you guys are busy. You do so much. List is so full. No wonder we can't keep the dates straight. Don't worry about it. Page 53. Don't worry about it. It's stuff happens, you know, it's called an eraser. Page 53. Delete. Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishtabach nimtza v'yein el metzuto echad v'yein yachid ki yichudo nelam v'gam ein sof leyachduto ein lo demut haguf v'yein o guf lo na'roch elav kedushato kamon lechol davar asher nivra rishon v'yein reshit l'reshito hino adon olam v'chol notzar yoreh gedulato malchuto shefan nevuato netano el anshe segulato v'tifarto lo kam v'Yisrael kemoshe od naviu mahamid et emunato Torah emet natan leyamo el al yad v'viyo nemam beito lo yachal Yifa'el v'lo yamir dato le'olamim lezulato sofeh v'yodeya setarenu mabit l'sof davar bekadmato gomer leish chesed kimifalo Noten l'rasha ra kerishato yishlach l'ket shamim mishichenu liftov mechakeket yeshuato meitim yichayel v'rov chasdo baruch adei shem tehilato meitim yichayel v'rov chasdo baruch adei Shem tehilato. And love our God restores the life of all our souls. May God be ever praised until eternity. Shabbat shalom, everybody, here and there on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. Shabbat shalom, everybody.